Mechanic War is one of those idle RPGs that seems simple at first, but the moment you start building your squad, you realize there's way more depth than you expected. With over 60 different mechanics to choose from, all with their own roles, strengths, and weird little quirks, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed. Tanks, assassins, snipers, everyone's fighting for a spot on your team, and you definitely don't want to waste your resources on the wrong picks. So in this video, we're breaking down the strongest mechanics you should actually be investing in. Think of this as your shortcut to building a team that doesn't just survive those endless robot waves, but absolutely melts them. If you're wondering who's worth pulling, who carries the late game, or who's going to make your grind way smoother, you're in the right place. Let's jump into the tier list and get your dream squad started. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Mechanic War. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Black Wukong, Dagger Holder, Black Bear, Green Robin, Gorilla Vulcan, Golden Wukong, and Sword Master. You ever look at a character and immediately hear elevator music in your head? Yeah. Welcome to the part of the roster that inspires exactly zero fear. Let us take a walk through the C tier of Mechanic War, where enthusiasm goes to die and upgrades go to waste. First up, we have Black Wukong. On paper, this guy swings his staff in a wide area of effect and even throws out an evasion-reducing debuff. Sounds spicy, right? Sadly, the reality is like ordering a triple espresso and getting warm water. His damage scaling is weak, the numbers barely move, and the debuff he applies might as well be a polite suggestion. Black Wukong tries, but Mechanic War is not a place where trying is enough. Next, we have Dagger Holder, the world's most committed assassin who just forgot to bring survivability. He is fast, he jumps in, he bursts targets, and then he evaporates like he was never there. Without proper evasion or durability, every fight turns into catch the flying dagger before he hits the floor. His skills look cool but do almost nothing, making him more decorative than dangerous. Moving on to Black Bear, the tank who feels like he is made of cardboard. He does some damage and tries to block hits, but once you get past the early game, he simply melts. His base statistics are extremely low and never catch up. If you want a tank that can actually take a punch, Black Bear is not the creature you are looking for. Now let us talk about Green Robin. This ranged attacker is perfectly fine, in the most painfully average way possible. He shoots arrows, he does damage, but there is absolutely nothing that makes him stand out. No synergy, no special trait, no reason to choose him when there are stronger archers at every higher rarity. He is the digital equivalent of a plain bread sandwich. Gorilla Vulcan is next, and while the name sounds like he should be blowing up half the battlefield, the reality is a bit more firecracker than explosion. He fires in a wide area of effect and his damage is acceptable early on, but it quickly fades. As you reach later stages, his output becomes too weak to justify a slot in your team. Golden Wukong steps in with decent statistics and the ability to hit 3 targets at once, which is honestly not bad. The problem is that his evasion buff feels underwhelming and his damage never spikes high enough to clear waves efficiently. He is like the cousin of the real Wukong who shows up to family events just to say, "I am also here." Finally, we have Swordmaster, who sounds like he should be incredible, yet somehow is not. He does provide a passive increase to attack power, which is nice, but the chance to trigger his wide area attack is so small that you might never see it when you need it. His damage is inconsistent, unreliable, and falls apart against grouped enemies. A master of the sword? Maybe. A master of damage? Absolutely not. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Holy Spear, Purple Rain, P01, War Machine, Black Piero, Blue Spirit, Battle Bear, Flash Arrow, and Black Vulcan. You know that feeling when you're picking your team and you hit that category of units who are not amazing but definitely not trash either. The ones who show up to work, do their job, but will never win Employee of the Month. Yes, welcome to the B tier of Mechanic War. These mechanics can absolutely carry you for a while. Just do not expect miracles. Let us kick things off with Holy Spear. This one jumps in like a dagger assassin on a mission, delivering a pretty respectable burst of damage. Early on, he feels fast, sharp, and genuinely helpful. But as you reach the later stages, Holy Spear slowly starts acting like he forgot how to be dangerous. His damage drops off and the burst he once had becomes more of a soft poke than a threat. Next up is Purple Rain, and no, sadly this one does not come with background music. Purple Rain is a decent tank with damage over time abilities that make clearing waves surprisingly smooth. You drop him in, he ticks enemies to death, everyone has a good time. The only issue is that he does not stay alive long enough in boss fights. His survivability dips so hard that even bosses look confused about how fast he falls. Moving on to P01, our resident poison specialist. He attacks from range with a bow, spreads poison in a wide area of effect, and stacks debuffs over time. Honestly, his kit is fun to watch. The problem is that his base statistics are weak, and his scaling is even weaker. He feels like a unit built for a much easier game. Great concept, low numbers, unfortunate execution. Then we have War Machine, a very supportive kind of fighter. He buffs himself, slows enemy attack speed, and offers a whole toolbox of small but useful debuffs. If utility had a face, it would be this guy, but when it comes to pure damage, War Machine hits like he is gently tapping enemies on the shoulder. Amazing support, disappointing power. Black Piero enters the battlefield looking like a melee fighter straight out of a villain carnival. His biggest strength is his ability to reduce enemy attack power through his passive debuff, which is genuinely valuable. He can help you survive bursts that would normally ruin your day, just do not mistake him for a damage dealer. As your main source of damage, he performs like a balloon sword in a real fight. Next is Blue Spirit, the katana assassin with more style than destruction. He swings with wide area attacks, buffs his own speed, increases attack power, and looks cool doing it. But when it is time to deliver actual burst damage, he suddenly remembers he has somewhere else to be. He is fun, flashy, and fast, just not explosive. Battle Bear, on the other hand, is the definition of good enough. As a beginner's tank, he is durable, dependable, and affordable to upgrade. If you are early in the game, this bear is your buddy. But once you unlock the upper tier tanks, he immediately becomes the one you politely bench forever. He is solid, but he cannot compete with legendary tanks in the long run. Now, let us talk about Flash Arrow, the range damage dealer who has exactly one job: shoot and hope not to die. His damage is decent, especially early on, and he can carry weaker teams through those painful early chapters. But he has absolutely no survivability or utility. If an enemy sneezes in his direction, Flash Arrow evaporates like a soap bubble. And finally, there is Black Vulcan, the sniper who loves firing rapidly with fast skill timings. He brings moderate burst damage and stays active frequently thanks to his quick cycling. However, he struggles against anything that has armor or defense. Without penetration or armor ignoring abilities, he ends up shooting hard targets with the enthusiasm of a water pistol. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Redheart, Bluebird, Lord Commander, Punch G, Defender, Fast Pointer, Battle Duo, and Red Piero. You know that sweet spot in every game where a character steps on the field and you immediately think, yep, this one is going to make my life easier. That is exactly what the A tier feels like in Mechanic War. These mechanics may not be absolutely broken, but they are reliable, powerful, and they actually respect the effort you put into upgrading them. Let us start with Redheart, a frontline fighter who refuses to go down quietly. Unlike most tanks, he does not just soak damage, he dishes it back with surprising force. And the real fun begins when his health drops below 50%, because that is when he deals bonus damage and suddenly becomes a danger to anyone standing in front of him. Whether you are playing in player versus environment or player versus player, Redheart is one of those units that always pulls his weight. Up next is Bluebird, and this one is basically a machine gun strapped to a bow. With a naturally high attack speed and a respectable amount of evasion, he turns mid-range combat into a rainstorm of arrows. He performs especially well in frontline heavy teams, where tanks can protect him long enough for his rapid-fire damage to melt enemies one by one. If you like watching enemies disappear and fast forward, Bluebird will treat you well. Lord Commander joins the roster with the elegance of a sniper who is tired of missing shots. His critical scaling is top tier, meaning every hit has a chance to explode into a massive damage spike. He slows enemies with every attack and even spreads wide area debuffs whenever his skills activate. Lord Commander is the kind of unit that turns difficult waves into manageable ones simply by making everything around him slower and weaker. Now we move on to Punch G, a melee brawler who swings his fists like they owe him money. His attack speed is incredible and allows him to deliver wide area cleave damage that spreads across multiple enemies at once. He also has a chance to heal himself during combat, which makes him surprisingly durable for someone who fights this aggressively. Punch RG is a pure run in and break stuff kind of mechanic, and honestly, it works. Defender is here to remind everyone what a real tank looks like. This ancient unit comes with massive health scaling and enough durability to stand still while 3 enemies hit him with everything they have. His damage output is weak, but that is not his job. Defender's whole personality is, I am a wall, and if you need a wall, he is perfect. Then we have Fast Pointer, a long-range bow fighter who absolutely loves clearing waves. His attack speed is high, his range is impressive, and he excels at deleting groups of enemies before they even reach your front line. The trade-off is extremely low durability, so you better keep him behind a good tank or he will disappear faster than your gems during a summoning event. Battle Duo arrives next, and as the name suggests, this is a 2-person sniper team that brings both burst damage and wide area hits. They are able to target backline enemies directly, which makes them a nightmare for healers and fragile damage dealers. They also deal extra damage to enemies with buffs, turning powerful opponents into easy targets. Battle Duo is one of those units that feels amazing the moment you drop them into a fight. Finally, we have Red Pyro, a melee attacker who mixes survivability with consistent performance. He deals reliable damage, holds his ground better than most melee units, and inflicts moderate debuffs that support the entire team. There is nothing flashy about Red Pyro, but his steady output across almost every stage makes him a very dependable addition to your roster. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Green Beret, Fire Deliver, Commando, P0, Yellow Dagger, and Blood Samurai. You know when a character walks into the battlefield and everything suddenly becomes unfair. Welcome to the S tier of Mechanic War, where the strongest mechanics live rent-free in every player's mind. These are the units that make stages feel like casual strolls and bosses feel like small inconveniences. If Victory had a face, it would look like this entire list. Let us begin with Green Beret, the absolute king of tanks. His health scaling is exceptional and he absorbs frontline damage like a professional shield. On top of that, he reduces the critical hit rate of enemies, making your entire team much safer. Whether you are fighting waves or bosses, Green Beret is hands down the strongest tank in the game. If your team needs a wall, this is not a wall, this is a fortress. Next up is Fire Deliver, the long-range destroyer who shows no mercy. With some of the highest damage per second in the entire game and consistent burst from his bow attacks, he melts enemies from across the screen. His base critical chance is extremely high, which only fuels his already ridiculous damage output. When it comes to clearing bosses quickly, Fire Deliver is simply unmatched. Then we have Commando, the sniper who makes every shot count. His accuracy is extremely high, he deals increased damage to enemies with low health, and he completely ignores defense. That alone would make him terrifying, but he also buffs himself and can hit multiple targets with wide area attacks. Commando is so reliable that once he is on your team, it feels like the game suddenly became easier. Now let us talk about P0, the fast melee fighter who combines aggression with balance. His attack speed is high, his burst skills hit hard, and he can buff himself before diving into the enemy. What makes him truly dangerous is his ability to trigger a chain of critical strikes that ripple through his targets. His health and damage are evenly balanced, making him useful in almost any situation. Yellow Dagger steps in as one of the best single target assassins in the entire game. He deals extremely high damage with his daggers, and his burst potential is incredible. He is also great when stacked and is especially effective against ranged enemies. If you ever want to delete a target instantly, Yellow Dagger is your guy. And finally, we have Blood Samurai, the katana assassin who slices entire groups with ease. He deals wide area katana damage, buffs his own attack, and steals life back with every strike. The longer a fight lasts, the more his stats grow, turning him into a scaling monster. Against tightly packed enemies, Blood Samurai is practically unstoppable. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.